Hello guys, hope you all are doing good. In this video, I would be discussing indirect tax amendments applicable for CS professional exams, that is for June 2023 exams guys. Clear? So this would be helpful for my students who already had taken my classes. I have prepared one reference material for this amendments which is connected or which is mapped. I have mapped it along with my regular study materials guys. Clear? So in this reference material, I have highlighted all the amendments in red color. Whatever is highlighted in red color is just the amendments, whereas the contents which are in black, you need not give much importance for it. It is not the changes. It is as it is, whatever we already covered in our regular class. Also, I have given reference to the page numbers as per my regular study material, so that you guys can connect to it and study. And if the changes are small, then you can make the adjustments in the regular study materials only guys. Fine. So with this disclosure, let us start our amendment session. So the first amendment is with respect to chapter 2.1, which talks about supply. So there, under reverse charge mechanism for services. So services taxable under reverse charge mechanism, come to page number 25. There, first item, if the GTA is providing services to the following recipients, okay, to the following recipients, then if GTA is not paying CGST at 6% or the total tax at 12%, only then the RCM was applicable. But now they have removed that condition, telling if GTA is providing the services to the following recipients, we call them as specified recipients, then they have two options. That is, they can pay tax under forward charge mechanism and they can claim input tax credit on all their inward supply, provided they satisfy all the conditions. If not, then they will inform the recipient they will pay tax under reverse charge mechanism. So this condition, who has not paid CGST at 12% or GST at 12%, they have removed it. So there is a change here also. Let me just go through it. Further, nothing contained in this entry shall apply. Means this RCM will not be applicable if the supplier has taken, that is GTA. Who is the supplier here? GTA has taken registration under CGST Act 2017 and exercised the option to pay tax on the services of GTA in relation to transport of goods supplied by him under forward charge. So GTA is telling, I will pay tax under forward charge, and the supplier has issued a tax invoice to the recipient charging CGST at the applicable rates and has made the prescribed declaration on such invoice issued by him. Simple guys. Now whenever GTA is providing service, they have first option to pay tax under forward charge. They can pay tax under forward charge. They will issue invoice to the recipient along with the disclosure of value of supply, tax, everything. They will collect the tax from the recipient and deposit that to the government. In such case, they can claim even input tax credit on their inward supplies, provided they are eligible for and they are satisfied all the conditions. If not, if they are not paying tax under forward charge, and in that case, reverse charge will be applicable. Reverse charge would be applicable. If they don't opt for paying tax under forward charge, then if the recipient is the following recipients, they have to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism. And if the supplier, that is GTA, doesn't opt to pay tax under forward charge, they cannot claim input tax credit on their inward supply guys. Clear? Yes, this is the change. So this will also affect your exemption, which we will see later. Then coming to entry 5. Services supplied by central government, state government, union territory or local authority to a business entity was taxable under RCM. Who has to pay tax? Business entity who is located in taxable territory. But excluding the following. Means in the following cases, RCM is not applicable. What was that? Renting of immobile property, then services specified below. That is services by Department of Post. Now, previously, something else was there, some condition only by way of speed post, express parcel post, life insurance and all was there, which has been removed now. Now they are very clear, services provided by Department of Post, any services is not covered under RCM. All other things remain same guys. Yeah. So all these changes, you can just cancel out in your regular study material only guys. Then they have added a new entry here, 5AA. Services by way of renting of residential dwelling to a registered person. See, previously this was covered under exempt list. Renting of residential dwelling means house or house property for a residential purpose was completely exempt. But now they have brought one thing under RCM, that is, if a property is rented out even for a residential purpose, but for a registered person, that is if a tenant is registered under GST, guys. If a tenant is registered under GST, then tenant has to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism. Sir, what if the house is rented out for a residential purpose for an unregistered person? Then it is exempt. Then it is exempt. But if it is rented out to a registered person means under what? GST. If the tenant is registered under GST, even though the property is rented out for residential purpose, still the tenant has to pay GST under reverse charge mechanism. Clear? Yes. Fine. The next change is with respect to composition scheme. So section 10, come to page number 33. Here they have given the list of people who are not eligible for composition scheme. Who are not eligible for composition scheme as per section 10.1. Who is eligible for 10.1? Manufacturer of any goods, trader of any goods, or restaurant supplier. But the following people are not eligible for the composition scheme. So there, with respect to E point, there are few additions. What is it? A person who is engaged in the manufacture of ice cream, pan masala, tobacco products, and aerated water was already there. Now they have added few more products, that is fly ash bricks, fly ash blocks, bricks of fossil mills, or similar siliceous earths, building bricks, and earthen or roofing tiles. Okay, in simple, bricks, blocks, and tiles. But there is some specific things to be considered there. If you are manufacturing any of this item, then you are not eligible for composition scheme. Sir, what if I am a trader in the following goods? Then I can opt for composition scheme. You guys can opt for composition scheme. Okay, all other points remain same. Then even coming to the composition scheme available for service suppliers under section 10.2a, there also same thing. Come to page number 34. There I have given who cannot opt for the new composition scheme. In that, this point. A person who is not engaged in the manufacture of notified goods, namely ice cream, other edible oils, whether or not containing cocoa, pan masala, aerated water, and tobacco products was already there. Now they added few more items, which is same as whatever we covered just now. Fly ash bricks, fly ash blocks, bricks of fossil mills or similar siliceous earths, building bricks, and earthen or roofing tiles. So if you are manufacturing these items, then you are not eligible for both the composition scheme. Sir, what if I am a trader? Yes, you can do it. Yes, you can do it. Then coming to conditions and restrictions also, same thing guys, in page number 35. These things have been added. In point 6, the following products have been added. That is bricks, blocks, and tiles. Sure. So the next change is with respect to chapter 3. That is input tax credit and computation of GST liability. This is one of the important amendment guys. That is in section 16. Come to page number 95. In section 16, the amendment is with respect to subsection 4. Whereas in the first 3 subsections, there is no amendments. Yeah, what is it, sir? So subsection 4, first of all, talks about what? The deadline to avail input tax credit. So any input tax credit, you have to avail it within this time. Okay, normally input tax credit with respect to whatever inward supply you have taken in this month, you will normally claim it in next month return. Agree? How will we claim the input tax credit in GSTR 3B? So there are 3 total returns which the person will file. If you are a normal person who is covered in section 9, GSTR 1 within 11th of next month, giving the details of your outward supply. Then GSTR 3B giving that within 20th of next month, giving the details of your outward supply, inward supply, output tax, then input tax credit you are eligible for, then ultimately what is the tax you are paying through electronic cash ledger. All these details will be given in GSTR 3B, provided you are filing monthly return. See, until and unless the question is silent, if the question is silent, always assume the registered person is following monthly return. If the question is specific that a person is following QRMP, only then you accordingly consider the dates, guys. If not, always assume that he is filing monthly return. Okay. And in addition to this GSTR 1 and 3B, you will also file GSTR 9, which is annual return. Okay, sir. Now, coming to this, within what time he has to claim it? What is the deadline? Normally, I told you, whatever is your inward supply in the current month, you will claim it in the next month. But there is some extended time also given for you within which you have to claim it, which is given in subsection 4. A registered person shall not be entitled to take input tax credit in respect of any invoice or debit note for the supply of goods or services or both after, means with after this date you will not be eligible. What is that date? 30th November of the following financial year. Previously this was the due date to file return for September month of the next year. Now they have changed it. The amendment is with respect to this point. Or actual date of furnishing of relevant annual return, whichever is earlier. Okay, whichever is earlier. So here this is the point which is important, where they have changed it. The time limit under section 16.4, whatever we just now learned, does not apply for re-availing of credit that had been reversed earlier. Means, guys, there is a proviso telling if the recipient doesn't pay the amount of supply or the consideration within 180 days to the supplier, then if he has already claimed the input tax credit, he has to reverse it. On the expiry of 180 days, he has to reverse it. Sir, what if the recipient pay the amount after 180 days? Then once he pay the amount to the supplier, he can again re-avail the credit. He can re-avail the credit. For re-availing the credit which was reversed earlier, should this time limit be followed? No, this time limit is not followed. For availing whatever first initially already availed ITC, for that, yes, this time limit is applicable. So whatever ITC you had already availed, you didn't pay the consideration for the supplier within 180 days. So on the expiry of 180 days, the ITC was reversed and it was added to your output tax liability. Then after 180 days, sometime later, you paid the amount to the supplier and again you're re-availing the credit. In that case, this time limit will not be applicable for re-availing the credit. Yeah. Yes, guys. So with respect to this provision, I have given two illustrations for better understanding. What are those? We will see. Illustration 1. Invoice is dated 31st July 2022. Annual return for 22-23 is filed on 20th October 2023. Okay. So invoice is somewhere related to financial year 22-23, guys. For financial year 22-23, annual return is filed when? 20th October 2023. Come on. Applying this provision. When have you filed the actual annual return for the year? 20th October 2023. What is the deadline for you as per point 1? 30th November of next financial year. Invoice is related to 22-23. For any inward supply you are taken in financial year 22-23 from April to March, what is the deadline for you to claim credit? Whichever is earlier, 20th October. What is the deadline for you to claim credit? 20th October 23, guys. Oh, let us see the solution. Invoice is related to financial year 22-23, any month. It is connected to July, so which will fall in financial year 22-23 only. And annual return for 22-23 is filed on when? 20th October. Okay. Standard date is what? 30th November of next financial year. So invoice is related to 22-23. 30th November of next year means 30th November 23. So earlier of these two dates is 20th October 23. In this case, recipient will be able to claim input tax credit not later than 20th October. So what is the maximum deadline you will claim the credit? 20th October. Now the question is, in which GST or 3B you will claim? Is it for October month or September month? See, for October, if you want to claim credit, then you will file October month GST or 3B on or before 20th November. By then, already the time would have expired, guys. So 20th October is the deadline for you. So you have to claim the input tax credit related to any month of financial year 22-23 before 20th October. So before 20th October, which is the latest GST or 3B you will file, that is for September. When do you file it? On or before 20th October. So for any inward supply you have taken in 22-23, you can maximum claim the credit in September month GST or 3B, which you will file on or before 20th October. On or before 20th October. That is what is given in the next line. ITC needs to be claimed and to be reported in the return GST or 3B for September, due to be filed on or before when? 20th October. You cannot claim it in October GST or 3B because you will file it in November. By then already time would have been over. Agree, guys? Yes. Chalo. Then coming to illustration 2. A Limited received invoice dated 10th April 2022. Okay. Invoice is related to financial year 22-23 containing input tax of 1 lakh. A Limited filed its annual return for 22-23 when 31st August. Okay. Chalo. Let me just change the scenario here as per my second illustration. So this is 31st August. 31st August 23. Whichever is earlier is what? 31st August 23. Okay. So for any invoice or for any inward supply related to financial year 22-23, you can claim credit maximum within what time? 31st August. 31st August, guys. Chalo. We'll see the solution. Invoice is related to financial year 22-23 and annual return for 22-23 is filed on 31st August 2023. Okay. Whereas the standard date would be 30th November of next year, which is 30th November of 2023. Whichever is earlier is what? 31st August. In this case, A Limited will be able to claim input tax credit not later than deadline is what? 31st August. So you have to check before 31st August, which is the latest GSTR 3B you will file. That is for July. For July, GSTR 3B has to be filed on or before 20th August. Now, you have to claim it in GSTR 3B of July only. You cannot wait to claim it in GSTR 3B of August. Why? Because GSTR 3B for August you will file only in September. By then already time would have been expired, guys. Hence, A Limited will have to avail and report such input tax credit in GSTR 3B for the month of July to be filed on or before 20th August 2023. Hope it is clear. This is one of the important change, and this will also impact many other provisions which we will see later. This 30th November. Wherever it was previously due date for September month return of next financial year was there, now they have made it as 30th November. One of the changes is with respect to 16 subsection 4. There are few more places where this has been impacted. We will see that later. Okay. Chapter 4, Procedural Compliance under GST. So chapter 4.1, which covers the topic registration. So there come to page number 133. See, as per section 22, there are two threshold limit to get registered. So normal aggregate turnover applicable is 20 lakh. If your aggregate turnover throughout India, PAN based, if it is more than 20 lakh, you have to get registered as per section 22. But in case of MMNT, that is small state northeastern states, the limit applicable is 10 lakh and not 20 lakh. Section 22 gave power to the government to increase the threshold limit to 40 lakh. As per the notification, the government has increased the limit to 40 lakh to the exclusive supplier of goods within the state. But that 40 lakh limit is not applicable for the following people, guys. We have all covered already all these things. What are those? Threshold limit for registration for those engaged in exclusive supplier of goods enhanced to how much? 40 lakh. Through notification number 10/2019. Except means for the following people, 40 lakh limit will not be applicable. Okay. Who are those? Person engaged in making intra-state supply in the state of Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Puducherry, Sikkim, Telangana, Tripura, Uttarakhand, or person who is required to take compulsory registration under section 24, irrespective of their threshold limit. Then suppliers of the following items. Suppliers of the following item means if your outward supply is the following items, for you 40 lakh limit is not applicable. Whether you are a manufacturer or trader or doesn't matter. If your outward supply is the following items, you are not eligible for 40 lakh limit. What are those? Ice cream and other edible ice, whether or not containing cocoa, pan masala, tobacco and manufactured tobacco substitutes. This were already there, but aerated water is not covered here. Please be careful, guys. Now they have added 3 more items. What are those? Fly ash bricks, fly ash blocks, bricks of fossil mills or similar siliceous earths, building bricks, and earthen or roofing tiles. These are very similar to whatever was added in our composition scheme, similar items, guys. Clear? So in short, I name them as IT PBT. IT, the information technology is the most profitable sector. So keeping that, I have made this shortcut IT PBT. That is information technology is the most profitable. PBT means profit before tax. You guys would have heard this term. So IT PBT. I stands for ice cream. T stands for tobacco. P stands for pan masala. Then B stands for bricks or blocks. Then T stands for tiles, guys. This is just a shortcut for you guys to remember. All other things remain same. I had given this table in my regular study material, which will summarize for whom how much limit is applicable. If you are supplying within this 4 states, then 10 lakh. Then other 6 states means whatever is covered in the first point, that 10 states I have just given a bifurcation here. Then for other state it's 20 lakh, whereas any other state it is 40 lakh, provided you are supplying only goods within the state. Okay. Then there is a change with respect to this table. where this addition items are added, guys. So if you are supplying the following items, the threshold limit will be 10 lakh if you are from MMNT. If you are from any other states or union territories, then the limit would be 20 lakh. Fine. Chalo guys, we'll go to the next thing. Come to page number 137. Permanent account number is mandatory to be eligible for grant of registration. There is no change in it. Then coming to Aadhaar authentication, there is no change with respect to this Aadhaar authentication. We'll just go through some background because now they have added a new rule 10B, which is with respect to Aadhaar authentication. So what all these sections are talking about, we'll quickly go through this so that you will have some background. Section 25 subsection 6A. See guys, 25 6A, 6B, 6C, 6D was not there when GST was initially implemented in the year 2017. All these subsections were added only in the later stage. So section 25 subsection 6A is telling every registered person, means the person who is registered after GST was implemented, but before this provisions, that is subsection 6A, 6B and all was brought. If you are already registered under GST, now you have to get your Aadhaar authenticated. That is what subsection 6A is telling. Every registered person shall undergo authentication or furnish proof of possession of Aadhaar number in such form and manner and within such time as may be prescribed. Okay. Then subsection 6B was telling, now if you are applying for a fresh registration, that is once these sections were brought, if you are applying for a fresh registration, for you Aadhaar authentication is mandatory. Means you have to give your Aadhaar number, only then registration will be granted for you. Yeah, means for example, if you or me applying for a GST registration today, we have to give our Aadhaar number to get GST registration. That is what subsection 6B is telling. For a fresh registration, every individual shall have to authenticate himself with Aadhaar number. Okay. Next, if I am not having Aadhaar number, then there is an alternate way. That is, I have to get my place of business physically verified by the proper officer. That is the second alternate available. If I don't have my Aadhaar number, along with that, I have to give few documents, which we will see, which is mentioned in rule 10B. Then section 25 subsection 6C is telling, in case of a person other than individual, like business entities, partnership firm, company, trust and all, then they will not have Aadhaar number. Whose Aadhaar number they will give? Any person who is the face of that entity, like for a partnership firm, partner, for a company, managing director, for a trust, trustee, like that, or for association of person or body of individual, their members. Yeah. In case of person other than individual, such as partnership firm, AOP, BOI, company, trust, etc., for getting fresh registration, authentication shall be done by Aadhaar number of a partner, authorized representative, managing director, trustee, etc. All this was already there. Then as per subsection 60, they also gave exemption for few people for whom Aadhaar authentication is not applicable. So who are those? The following people. For the following people, Aadhaar authentication is not at all applicable. Who are those? A person who is not a citizen of India because they will not have Aadhaar. Department or establishment of state government or central government, local authority, statutory body, public sector undertaking. Then a person applying for UIN, that is unique identity number. For them, Aadhaar authentication is not at all applicable. So nothing new till here. Whatever we discussed. Now they have added a new rule 10B with respect to this Aadhaar authentication. What is it telling? We will see now. Aadhaar authentication mandatory for existing registered person. Lately, Aadhaar authentication has been made mandatory for new registrants, means whoever is taking the registration once this provision was brought, as well as for the existing registration. Sir, what about the people who are already registered before this provisions was brought? They should also get their Aadhaar authenticated, or else their registration can be cancelled, like that. With regard to existing registrants, section 25 subsection 6A stipulates that every registered person shall undergo authentication or furnish proof of possession of Aadhaar number in the prescribed form, manner and time. New rule 10B prescribes the manner in which Aadhaar authentication needs to be done by a registered person. How is it? A registered person who has been issued a certificate of registration under GST, that is in REG 6, registration certificate is granted, shall undergo the authentication of Aadhaar number of, in case of proprietor, the proprietorship firm, then it is proprietor's Aadhaar has to be authenticated. In case of partnership firm, any partner. In case of HUF, the Karta, who is the head of the family. Then in case of company, either the managing director or any old-time director of the company. Then in case of association of persons or body of individuals or society, any members of the managing committee. Okay. And in case of trust, the trust in the board of trustee. Their Aadhaar has to be authenticated. Okay. In order to be eligible for the following purposes, means only if you have done your Aadhaar authentication, you can get these benefits. If not, for you, this benefits is not at all available. What are those? For filing for application for revocation of cancellation of registration. So if your registration is cancelled and you have an option to apply for revocation of your cancellation, you can do it provided your Aadhaar is authenticated. Until and unless your Aadhaar is authenticated, you cannot make an application for revocation of cancellation of your registration. Same way, for filing of refund application in RFD 01, even though you are eligible for refund of GST, whatever you have paid excess, you cannot claim it if your Aadhaar is not authenticated. So for refund of IGST paid on goods exported out of India. So these three things will not be available if you are not done your Aadhaar authentication, guys. This is also important. Yeah, let us go ahead. First proviso to section 25(6)(a) provides that if Aadhaar number is not assigned to an existing registered person, such person shall be offered alternate and viable means of identification in the prescribed manner. Such manner has been prescribed by Rule 10B as follows. Means physical verification will be there. Along with physical verification, you have to give some documents. That is, sir, I don't have my Aadhaar number, but I have applied for Aadhaar. So you will have Aadhaar enrollment ID, na? You give that along with any one document. If Aadhaar number has not been assigned to a person required to undergo authentication of Aadhaar number, such person shall furnish the following identification documents, namely, what is it? First, his or her Aadhaar enrollment ID slip, that is what you would have received when you applied for Aadhaar. Okay. And any of the following documents, guys. That is, 4 items are mentioned here, 4 documents, any one you can give. Along with A, any one document mentioned in B, not everything. Bank passbook with photograph or voter identity card issued by Election Commission of India, or passport or driving license issued by licensing authority. Means A is mandatory, guys. Along with A, any one of the document covered in B point. However, once Aadhaar number is allotted to such person, he shall undergo the authentication of Aadhaar number within a period of 30 days of allotment of Aadhaar number. Means once you receive your Aadhaar number, you have to authenticate your Aadhaar. Means you have to quote your Aadhaar number within 30 days. The aforesaid Rule 10B shall not be applicable to the persons who are notified under section 25 subsection 6D. That is, to the persons exempt from Aadhaar authentication, which we saw here. Okay, for the following people, Rule 10B is not at all applicable. Rule 10B is not, because for them Aadhaar authentication itself is exempt. So for them Rule 10B also is not applicable. Fine, guys. So the next change is with respect to cancellation of or suspension of registration, which is covered in section 29. See, registration can be cancelled under 2 grounds. That is, the registered person he himself is applying for cancellation of registration for the proper officer because he is shifting his business from one state to another state, or is closing down his business, or is selling his business to someone else as a going concern. In that case, he will make an application for cancellation of his registration. Or else, as per subsection 2, if a registered person has violated any provisions of the GST Act or rules, then the proper officer will have a right to cancel the registration. But before cancelling the registration, he will serve the notice to the registered person, wait for his reply, only then he will take the final call. But in the following cases, the proper officer will have a right to cancel the registration of a registered person on his own will. Okay, so under section 29 subsection 2, there are various grounds when the proper officer can cancel the registration. Now the amendment is with respect to point B and C, guys. Okay, whereas all other points are as it is, there is no change. So please be careful. I repeat once again, wherever the contents are in black, it is as it is. There is no change in it. Wherever I have highlighted in red color, only those things are the amendments or changes, guys. Yeah. So with respect to B point, a person who is paying tax under section 10, that is composition scheme, both the composition scheme, guys, 10(1) as well as 10(2)(a), has not furnished returns for financial year beyond 3 months from the due date of furnishing the said return. So the person, that is composition suppliers, have to pay tax quarterly and file payment statement quarterly, but they will file annual return. There are two annual returns for them. One, they have to file it within 30th April of next financial year, and another one within 31st December of next financial year. If any of these returns, if they don't file within 3 months from the due date, so whatever is the due date for them plus 3 months is given. Within that time also, if they don't file it, then their registration can be cancelled. Even for 1 year. Even for 1 year, if they fail to file the return beyond 3 months from the due date, then their registration can be cancelled. Okay. Then coming to, sir, what about the persons who are covered in section 9? That is normal taxable person. So for a person who is covered under section 9, they have two options. They can pay tax monthly and file returns monthly, that is both GSTR 1 and 3B, or else if they are small suppliers, they can pay tax monthly but file returns quarterly. We call it as QRMP scheme. That is both GSTR 1 and 3B. If a person who is covered under section 9, if he is filing monthly returns, if he doesn't file the returns for 6 continuous months, then his registration can be cancelled. That is either GSTR 1 or GSTR 3B or both. Same way, the person who is covered under QRMP, who is paying tax as per section 9, but he is covered under QRMP. In that case, if he doesn't file either GSTR 1 or 3B or both for 2 continuous quarters, then his registration can be cancelled, guys. That is what is given in point C under subsection 2 of section 29. Any registered person other than the person specified in clause B, that means the person other than section 10, who is that? Section 9 person. Whatever they are talking here is section 9 person, has not furnished returns for a continuous period of 6 months, or if quarterly returns filer does not file return for a continuous period of 2 tax period. And here 2 tax period means what? 2 quarters, guys. 2 quarters. I will just draw the chart here so that it will be simplified for you. So registered persons, there are 2 categories. Section 10, section 9. Section 9. This is composition supplier. Both 10.1 and 10.2A. Both are covered. Okay. If they don't file their annual returns within 3 months from the due date, whatever is given for them, for 1 year also, their registration can be cancelled. Okay. Whereas for section 9 person, there is QRMP, then monthly returns. Monthly returns. If you are filing monthly returns and if you have failed to file the returns for 6 continuous months, then your registration can be cancelled. Same way for QRMP person, if you have failed to file your returns for 2 continuous quarters, either GSTR 1 na, 3B na or both, then your registration can be cancelled. It is like that. Fine, guys. That is the only changes here. Sorry. We'll move ahead to the next chapter, chapter 4.2. Come to tax invoice, debit and credit note chapter. Their electronic e-invoicing, or in short, in e-invoicing we call it as page number 161. E-invoicing, come to this paragraph straight away. The change is with respect to this. All registered persons, notified persons with an aggregate turnover based on PAN in any preceding financial year from 17-18 onwards greater than, previously it was 20 crore, now they have reduced it to 10 crore from 1st October. From 1st October 2022, they have reduced it to 10 crore. Will be required to issue e-invoices, guys. Chalo. Means the GST was implemented from the year 17-18. From 17-18 in any year, if your aggregate turnover is more than 10 crore. See, limit is reduced to 10 crore on 1st October 2022. But if your aggregate turnover in any year from 17-18, if it is more than 10 crore, then you have to issue e-invoices. That is in the electronic form. So e-invoicing is not applicable for the following people. Even though their turnover is more than 10 crore, still here it was previously 20 crore. Please now make a changes. So even though their turnover is more than 10 crore, still for them e-invoicing won't be applicable, guys. Clear? This is one small change here which you have to just make an update. Then coming to credit note, page number 164. You know when credit note will be issued. In the following situation, we'll just go through it. When the credit note will be issued, where the taxable value in the invoice is greater than the taxable value of supply. Means you have charged more in your invoice, whereas actually the value of supply is less. Or you have charged more tax in your invoice, but actually the tax which you were supposed to charge was less. Or in case of sales returns, or if the goods are damaged or deficient, but the purchaser is not happy with it, is sending back the goods. Or in case if you are giving any discount after the supply is made. In the following cases, you will issue credit note. Once you issue credit note, the credit note information has to be given in the return for the month in which you issue the credit note. But it can be given later also within some deadline. Within some deadline. So the amendment is with respect to that. What is it? Declaration. Any registered person who has issued credit note in relation to supply of goods or services or both must declare the details of such credit note in the return for the month during which such credit note was issued. So first they are telling, in whichever month you issue credit note, give the details in that month return. Okay. In that month, whatever GSTR 1 you will file, give the details in that month GSTR 1. But you can also give it later. When is it? But not later than, within what time? 30th November of following financial year, or actual date of furnishing the relevant annual return, whichever is earlier. So the amendment is with respect to point A, guys. Amendment is with respect to point A. Sir, what is it? Assume, guys, there is a supply which I had made in the year 22-23. Any month you take. In the year 22-23, assume in August 22, I had supplied for 1 lakh and I had collected GST, assume 18%, 18,000. So totally I have issued the invoice for 1,18,000. But later I got to know I have charged more. Later I got to know I have charged more. So somewhere assume in May 23. May 23, I got to know, I have issued more. Actually, the value of supply assume was only 15,000. Value of supply was only 15,000 and GST was supposed to be 9,000. But I have charged double. So whatever excess I have charged, I have to issue credit note. How much excess I have charged? 50,000 plus 9,000 GST. Totally I have charged 59,000. So I have to issue credit note for my recipient. And when am I issuing it? In May 23. I am issuing credit note to my recipient for whom I have supplied in August 22. Can I do it? Yes, but you have to link it to the respective invoice. Okay. Now, when am I issuing credit note to my recipient? In May. So, when should I give the information about my credit note? For May, you will file GSTR 1 within May, means June 11th, June 11th, 23, you will file GSTR 1. You have to give it in that. But they are telling maximum, you can give it later also, but not later than what date? But not later than 30th November of following financial year. So in which year did you issue credit note? In the financial year 23-24. Okay. 30th November of next financial year means 30th November 24. Or assume for financial year 23-24, I filed the return on 15th December 24. I filed the annual return on 15th December. So take 15th December 24. Whichever is earlier is which date? 30th November. The thing is, see, whatever credit note you have issued in May, give the details of credit note for whatever GSTR 1 you will file for May only. That is on or before 11th June. But you can still give it later, but not beyond 30th November 24. But not beyond 30th November. 30th November 24 is the deadline for you to give the details of your credit note. So before this, you check what is the latest GSTR 1 you will file. That is for which month? October. So for October, you will file GSTR 1 in November, on or before 11th November. Give the details in that by latest, not beyond that. Okay, hope you guys are clear with this. So they are also telling no reduction in tax liability of the supplier shall be permitted if the incidence of tax on such supply has been passed on to any other person. So for example, see this 9,000, if you have collected from your recipient, you have to give it back. only then you can claim the benefit of the credit note. Because what happens, you would have paid, you would have collected and paid from your recipient to the department how much? 18,000. Now if you are claiming a refund of 9,000, first you have to give back that money to the recipient. Only then you can claim the refund of that. Clear guys? Yes. Chalo, we'll go to the next topic. Chapter 4.4, which talks about returns. Summary of GST returns. Come to page number 199. So there GST year 2 and 3 was there, which I had given as suspended. Now they have completely omitted it. They have completely removed it, guys. Previously this was suspended, means they told any day we can bring it back, but now they have completely removed it, means omitted it. Okay. Next change is with respect to furnishing details of outward supply in page number 200. Point 7, guys. Come to point 7. What is it? If supplier discovers any error or omission, he shall rectify the same in the tax period during which such error or omission is noticed, and pay the tax and interest if any, in case there is short payment in the return to be furnished for such tax period. Means, sir, I have already filed my GST year 1 for a particular month. Later, I noticed any error or omission. Can I revise it? There is no option of revising it, but you can rectify your error. You can rectify your error even in the future period. Okay. Example. A supplier discovers a mistake in details of invoice furnished in GST year 1 for the month of August. When did he notify it? In October. So he has already filed the return in August, for August. But now there was a mistake which he notified in, which he noticed in October. Okay. He can rectify the said mistake in GST year 1 for the month of October. Yes, he can do. For October, he will file GST year 1. Can he rectify the mistake which he has committed in August return? Yes, he can rectify. Suppose for some reason supplier could not make the correction at the time of filing of GST year 1 for the month of October. Can he still do it? Now he noticed the mistake in October. Is it mandatory for him to rectify in GST year 1 of October only? It is better to do it, but still some extended time is given for you. Then he can make such amendments in the subsequent period also. But what is the deadline for you to correct your mistake? However, the maximum time limit within which such amendments are permissible is earlier of the following dates, that is 30th November of next financial year or actual date of filing the relevant annual return, whichever is earlier, guys. Whichever is earlier. Okay, so the amendment is with respect to this point. Previously it was the due date to file September month return of the next year, but now they have changed it. Okay, wherever it was due date for September month return, okay, due date to file GST year 3B for September of next financial year, everywhere now they have made it as 30th November, guys. Okay. So I have also given one example with respect to this. We'll see. An entity has furnished the annual return for the previous financial year 21-22 on 15th August. Okay, they have filed it. See, the due date to file annual return is 31st December. That doesn't mean that you will file always on due date only. Any date before that also you can file it. In the current financial year 22-23, an error is discovered in respect of a transaction pertaining to the month of November 21 of the previous financial year. So, okay, in the current year, you have noticed a mistake related to last year. In this case, any error pertaining to the transaction in the month of November. So, the error is related to which month? November 21 of the previous financial year 21-22 cannot be rectified beyond what date? Okay, so here. On what date you have filed your annual return? 15th August 22. Then 30th November of next financial year means 30th November 22. So whichever is earlier is which date? 15th August 22. You can latest rectify your any error relating to financial year 21-22 by latest what date? 15th August. 15th August. That is the return which you file for July on or before the 11th of August, you can maximum rectify within that period. Okay. Next, there is one more new point they have added. Sequencing of return is mandatory. Unless the earlier return is not filed, current month return cannot be filed. For example, sir, I have not filed GST year 1 for last month. Can I file the GST year 1 for the current month? No, it is not at all allowed. It is not at all allowed. Until and unless you file all your pending returns or all your past returns, your current returns, current month return or current quarter returns cannot be filed, guys. But government has a power to exempt anyone, telling you need not file last month return, you at least file current month. Only government has this power. Provided that The government may, on the recommendation of the council by notification subject to such condition and restriction as may be specified therein, allow a registered person or a class of registered person to furnish the details of outward supply, even if he has not furnished the details of outward supply for one or more previous tax periods. Okay, means actually if you have not filed your returns for the previous tax periods, then you cannot file the returns for the next periods. But government has a power to give exemption. Even though you have not filed the returns for the previous period, government can allow, if they tell you particular person, you can file the return for the current month, even though you have not filed the return for last month, then you can do it. Okay. Then similar thing with respect to any returns filed under section 39, guys. Come to page number 211. If there is any error or omission which you have committed in any return which you have filed under section 39, including GST or 3B, you can rectify them in the month in which you identify it. Okay, but not later than. There is a time limit given. When the maximum time limit within which the rectification of errors or omission is permissible is earlier of the following dates. What are those dates? 30th November of following financial year or actual date of filing the relevant annual return, whichever is earlier. So the change is with respect to this. Clear? Previously it was the due date to file the GST or 3B or the return under section 39 for September month of next year. Now they have changed it. Then there is also a point here. As per section 39 subsection 10, a registered person shall not be allowed to furnish a return for a tax period if a return for any of the previous tax period or the details of outward supply under section 37 for the said tax period has not been furnished by him. Simple, guys. If you have not filed your GST or 3B for last month, or you have filed GST or 3B but not filed GST or 1, in that case, in the current month you cannot file GST or 3B. For the current month you cannot file your GST or 3B. So I repeat once again, if you have not filed your GST or 3B for the last month, or you have not filed your GST or 1 for the last month, then for the present month or for the current month, you cannot file your GST or 3B. Same thing was there even for GST or 1 under section 37. Here also they have added the same. But government again has the power to exempt any person telling, even though you have not filed your GST or 3B for last month, you can file it this time for this month. Government has that power. Provided that government may, on the recommendation of the council by notification subject to such conditions and restrictions as may be specified therein, allow a registered person or class of registered person to furnish the return even if he has not furnished the returns for one or more previous tax periods or has not furnished the details of outward supply under section 37 for the said tax period. So then also these are the other thing. Section 42, 43 and 43A have been omitted completely, guys. From CGST Act, they have completely omitted these three sections. Chalo. The next change, just a second. Yeah. The next change is with respect to chapter 10. GST compensation to states. Background in page number 311, come to that. See, this act was passed only to compensate the states who will lose revenue just because of implementation of GST. Just because of implementation of GST means a compensation will be calculated every year and central government will be releasing it to the respective state only if there is a loss of revenue for them under GST. This act was initially passed for 5 years, guys. This act was initially passed for 5 years. Why? Because when GST was supposed to be implemented, many states objected, telling we will lose revenue on them. We will lose revenue. So considering what all taxes have been now subsumed under GST, if there is any loss of revenue for them under GST, then the central government promised them, we will compensate you. We will compensate you by giving the compensation. So in that case, this was initially passed only for 5 years. And that 5-year period ended when? On 1st July 2022. That is, GST was implemented on 1st July 2017. So this 5 years period ended on 30th June 2022 or 1st July 2022. But now they have extended it till March 2026. They have extended now till, not 5 years. Initially it was passed for 5 years. Now they have extended it. Till when? Till 31st March 2026, guys. Clear? So now GST Compensation Cess Act will be applicable till 31st March 2026. Sir, how will the government give this compensation to the states? That is through the GST cess which the government will levy on the luxury and sin goods over and above GST. On some selected luxury and sin goods, in addition to GST, even the compensation cess is levied. Okay, from that the central government will be compensating the respective states. The government has extended the period during which GST compensation cess may be levied till March 2026. The compensation cess will continue to be collected from 1st July 2022 to March 31st 2026 in accordance with the goods and service tax period of levy and collection of cess rules 2022, which were announced by the finance ministry, guys. Okay, chalo. Then the next change is with respect to chapter 11, industry or sector specific analysis. The first change is with respect to healthcare services in page number 316. In entry 77, come to that. Entry 77 of notification number 9/2017 integrated tax rate dated 20th June 2017 exempts the services by way of, what are those? Healthcare services by a clinical establishment, an authorized medical practitioner or paramedics, which includes renting of rooms to a patients who are admitted in the hospital. But now there is a condition added for it. What is it? We will see. However, nothing in this entry shall apply to the services provided by the clinical establishment by way of providing room, that is renting room, having room charges exceeding 5,000 per day to a person receiving healthcare services. That is, if an hospital is charging more than 5,000 room charges per day, if the amount assumed is 6,000, entire 6,000 will be taxable. Sir, what if they are charging 4,000? Then nothing is taxable. If the amount charged per day per room is below 5,000, nothing is taxable. If it is more than 5,000, entire amount is taxable. But this 5,000 limit is not applicable. That is other than intensive care unit, that is ICU, critical care unit, that is CCU, intensive cardiac care unit or neonatal intensive care unit having room charges exceeding 5,000 per day to a person receiving health care services. Okay, means for that services, whatever is mentioned in the bracket, there is no amount limit. Assume for ICU, an hospital is charging 10,000 per day. Is it taxable? No, entire amount is exempt. Entire amount is exempt, guys. Then coming to B point, there is no change in it. That is services provided by way of transportation of a patient in an ambulance other than those specified in A above. Then with respect to this, there is a change in the notes also. That is, come to notes in page number 317. There, renting of rooms provided to inpatient in hospital was completely exempt. But now they have added that 5,000 limit. That is why just add the sentence subject to the limit and purpose specified. If it is within 5,000, nothing is taxable. If it is more than 5,000, complete thing is taxable. But if it is given for any ICU, CCU and all, then there is no monetary limit at all. Same thing with respect to this table also, guys, in page number 318. This is room charges for indoor patient was exempt, but now it is subject to the limit and purpose. Okay, so make this necessary changes even in your material. Then the next change is with respect to GTA, that is Goods Transportation Agency, which we also discussed in RCM. Come to page number 326. So there also I have given this table, similar changes which we already encountered, guys. So whenever GTA is providing services to the following recipients, they have an option to pay tax under forward charge, collect the tax from the recipient by issuing an invoice and deposit to the tax and claim full ITC. If not, then the recipient has to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism. And in that scenario, the GTA cannot claim input tax credit on their inward supply. Then with respect to exemptions given to GTA, in page number 331, they have removed this too. Okay, whatever exemption was given with respect to some monetary limit, they have removed this exemption now. They have removed this exemptions, guys. Then all other things are as it is. Then coming to chapter 12, which is basic concepts of customs law. With respect to social welfare surcharge. See, social welfare surcharge is given in page number 354, which was charged only on the goods which is imported into India. Now they have given some clarification on that. We will see that. Clarification regarding applicability of social welfare surcharge on goods exempted from basic and other customs duty cesses. Yes, what is it? Social welfare surcharge is levied and collected as a duty of custom and is calculated at the rate of 10% on what amount? Not on the value of imported goods. It is on the aggregate of duties, taxes and cesses which are levied and collected by central government as a duties of customs on goods imported into India. So on the goods imported into India, you would have calculated basic customs duty. On that basic customs duty, you will calculate 10% social welfare surcharge. Okay. It may be noted, now the clarification, it may be noted that at present, social welfare surcharge applies at the rate of 10% of the aggregate of customs duty payable on import of goods and not on the value of imported goods. Okay. So it is not on the value of imported goods. It is on the customs duty calculated on the value of imported goods. If aggregate customs duty payable is zero on the account of exemptions, the social welfare surcharge shall be computed as 10% of value equal to nil, as aggregate amount of customs duty payable is zero. Law does not require computation of SWS on the notional customs duty calculated at a tariff rate where applicable aggregate of duties of customs is zero. Simple, guys. On import of any goods, if basic customs duty is exempt, then should we calculate the social welfare surcharge? Yes, if you calculate also, you will get zero. Why? Because 10% of zero is zero, na? Because basic customs duty is exempted on a particular import. In that case, the social welfare surcharge also will be zero. You need not do any notional calculation in that case. It is clarified that the amount of social welfare surcharge payable would be nil in cases where the aggregate of customs duty which form base for computation of social welfare surcharge is zero, even though social welfare surcharge has not been exempted. So SW is not exempted on that particular import of goods, but basic customs duty is exempt, and basic customs duty on that exempt import is zero. And in that case, what will be the social welfare surcharge? That will also be zero. It is like an implied exemption even given to social welfare surcharge, guys. Yeah, and I have given this notes. So you guys have to give just importance with respect to whatever content I have highlighted in red color. And also I have connected to my regular study material by giving the page number. Accordingly refer, guys. Hope this was helpful for you for your preparation. All the best. Do study well and give your best, guys. Thank you.